everyone, and welcome to the first installment of the Pony 411 podcast. Grasping for greatness here, our first try at doing something like this. Everyone say hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, listen to all those cool people. Alright, well, we got 4 people in here tonight out of our hopeful usual 5 people, but tonight one of our friends sadly couldn't make it. But
It's okay because he's British.
That's right. That's right. We don't care about his kind. So thank you very much for listening out there. No one's actually listening right now because we're not doing this live. But
I'm listening.
I guess except for the 4 of us and whoever else is in my house right now.
Wait, we're doing a podcast?
Is that what we're? I don't know. But anybody else who decides to listen to this later on, as our first ever when we put it online. We have like 6 followers on Twitter right now, so
that was quick.
Maybe all
most of them are probably us.
Well, there's 3 of us, and then there's Mr. Fulner from Brony-chan, and then Netbard. Hi, Netbard.
Hello.
You said you were gonna listen. I hope you do. So
we're gonna hold you to it, damn it.
So we've got John Fulner from Brony-chan in our corner, even though he follows like 270 other people. I'm just gonna assume he saw this and he's like, man, they got something going here. I'm just gonna follow this, and
that's the plan anyway.
I'm gonna say that I was on this before it got big, because that's what we all want. Anyway, so I guess we'll start with some introductions. We'll go around the room since we're all in the same room, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, man, this room is incredible. You guys rock.
Yeah, we got like this big room. Yeah.
And after the podcast is over, we're gonna get some prostitutes in here and maybe some pizza.
That's gonna be for our 10th episode. We're gonna party like it's our 10th episode. So I guess we'll start with Funky. Say things about yourself.
Oh, I had no idea what order we're gonna do. Okay, my name is, not my name, but my online name I like to go by is LordFunkyFist. That dates back a couple years, but even though it's not particularly a pony name, but whatever, I like the name. I live in Texas, and I like the show. I don't know what else to really go into right now.
I like the show too.
Oh, you do?
So we have something in common. That's cool.
We should make a podcast about it.
You draw ponies, is that correct?
Oh, yeah. I forgot I draw. But yeah, that's the thing.
Is that LordFunkyFist at deviantart.com? Or .deviantart.com rather?
Yeah, .deviantart.com.
Yeah, y'all should check that out. He draws ponies sometimes. Except for when he's not. Sometimes he's also drawing naked women.
Ladies.
But ladies.
I will not deny that I like that. But yeah, getting back into ponies, drawing ponies is something I've really been wanting to do, but I guess I just have other priorities first before I'm comfortable tackling that on. But I do want to get into that more regularly sometime, in the near future, maybe like tomorrow or something, but who knows.
Ooh, this is going to inspire you to go back.
Hopefully it will.
First you made our rockin' logo, which you listeners out there are probably seeing in some way, shape, or form right now on the page from which you're listening to this.
I had no idea what I was doing when I was making that logo because I was kind of unfamiliar with the tools I was using making that, so it was interesting figuring out things. Like, it took me maybe 2.5 hours or so just to make like a simple logo that anybody else could have probably done in like 20 minutes, but
hey, it's good enough for us right now.
It's a learning process, so I got some stuff out of it.
Just like this podcast, it's a learning process. You have anything else you want to say? Like favorite pony, Since everybody always says that on all the other things. So
when I first got into the show, I think Pinkie Pie was probably my favorite pony for a while, but as the series went on, it's only been 2 seasons, but Twilight grew on me, so that she's up there, like she's number 1, and Pinkie's like really tying in, and everyone else is just like, yeah, I like more some than others, but just like Twilight, then Pinky,
Damn.
and then Applejack, and then whatever. I don't care about the rest.
Well, there we go. All right, so that's Mr. Well, you'll probably hear us call him Funky most of the time, but LordFunkyFist is his name, and
Mr. Funky Fist is my father.
Mr. also known as Duke Disco Hand. He's known for being banned from Habbo multiple times. His children never saw it coming. Nemesis, how about you talk?
Why should I talk?
Because you're on a podcast, and that's what you should do.
Oh yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm Nemesis. I used to be Nemesis Prime after the Transformer, but I decided to shorten to Nemesis because, well, why not?
Because he's lazy.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't want to type it all the time. Plus, it's getting harder and harder to find places that didn't already have that taken. Then again, just shortening it to Nemesis didn't really help that either. But right now I'm a monitor on the Pony Central forums of the off-topic section. And if you're at Everfree, I was the guy driving the DeLorean.
Yeah,
that's all you need to know.
I know at least Full Papers tweeted a picture of that at one point. I was just like, I know that guy.
I rode in that DeLorean.
Yes, we've all ridden in that DeLorean, and it was pretty glorious.
I rode in it too. It was a pretty scary experience for me.
My favorite part about riding that DeLorean was when we played the Back to the Future soundtrack also.
Yeah, when you're riding in that DeLorean, time just really seems to fly by.
Get out. Get
it's
out.
Obligatory for if you have to do that at least once. Just play Back to the Future while you're in there.
Basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But anything else you want to say? Like
the best pony is Twilight Sparkle, no matter what anyone else says.
Yeah, that's gonna be a recurring theme here. Nemesis will kill you if you say otherwise. So that's a fun thing. Anyway, Mr. Other Guy. I don't know what you want to be known by, so I'm just gonna call you Other Guy until you say your name.
You see, I go by many names, but all our listeners need to know is that they can call me Artfan. I originally come from the Kim Possible fandom way back in the old days of Disney Channel, but I got into My Little Pony thanks to this lovely group of people that I'm podcasting with here. I would say that my favorite pony, probably I would say, is a tie between Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy. I'm also an avid fanfic reader and occasional writer, so I'm always browsing for any types of new mind-blowing twists on the pony fandom.
Good or bad?
Form. Good. Well, preferably good, but I'll take some bad ones. There's usually some gems. And Artfan. You could find me on Twitter at Artfan88.
Even though he never updates.
Yeah, he
I
hasn't tweeted
never
since
use my
March.
Twitter. You can find me there, just don't expect to find any updates. And
I'm on there, but don't expect anything from me.
That is the essence of Twitter.
Yeah, and if you guys like art, I'm also on DeviantArt at artfan88.deviantart.com.
Another thing you don't update.
Which I also never update.
Follow me in all these places I don't even log on to anymore.
I browse. That counts for something.
I guess.
And now, Artfan, you're also going to be composing the lead into our podcast every week.
Yes,
that's correct.
Hopefully at some point here soon, when I get some more time on my hands. I'm a musician, so I'm going to try to lay down some wicked beats for this podcast and see where it goes.
Some fat beats.
Yeah, some fat beats. And say really quick what your purpose is here. I guess you kind of were talking when you said you were going to come do this, that you kind of had an idea of what kind of person you'd be in this podcast.
Oh, well, I assume I'm probably going to be the guy making terrible puns, but I'm also going to be the I see myself as the person that sheds some light on the lovely writers we have out there in the pony fan fiction community.
Possibly the not so lovely.
And beyond that, I know you've mentioned plenty of times to us that you don't really consider yourself a brony necessarily.
That's true. I do not. I mean, I can't say I'm an avid, like, super duper intense fan of the show, but it is something that when I do watch it, I enjoy it, and I do love
I don't always watch
talking
My Little
about
Pony.
it. I don't always watch My Little Pony, but when I do, I come on this podcast. Yeah, no, I mean, I do enjoy the show when I sit down and watch it, and I always enjoy talking about it, especially with people who actually know what's going on, such as you guys. So, and yeah, oh, also, Discord was voiced by Q, so that's automatically epic win for any Trekkies out there. So.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Okay. And last person here. Usually we'll have a guy named FusionFox in here. He's from Great Britain, and we're...
You'll know him straight away when you hear his voice, trust me.
Yeah, exactly.
You hear like some kind of British mumbling.
Don't take our word for it. Wait till you hear him talk.
He makes the ladies swoon with his accent. Basically, we don't stand a chance usually, but he'll be here most of the time. He's pretty busy these days, and plus he's also 5 hours ahead of some of us, and even more ahead than some of us also. So he'll be in here sometimes, but we hope we will have him soon. And he's probably listening to this, so hi Fusion, we love you. Well, I mean Nemesis doesn't, but
Can't speak for Nemesis.
He's tough to speak. He's tough to please. And my name is Kevin. I go by Surfwax America in the Ohio Bronies group, and I also go by 4string or 4string MOP on Twitter. That's where I try to do my things. So you should follow me there. I'd really appreciate it. I'm awesome. So I am a writer for the Daily Oat. It's a website kind of like Equestria Daily, except obviously not as well known because Equestria Daily takes most of the share of the audience. I think we can all agree.
Kind of takes some of the audience, considering like the millions of views. Like, yeah,
exactly.
It's kind of well known, more than others.
But trying to do some cool stuff with that here eventually. Keep on the lookout for it if you've never been there before. Trying to do some
Think of
feature
the Daily
stories.
Oat as the hipster alternative.
Yeah, I was going to call this an alternative news site, but that's not really exactly the case. We're not really doing alternative news per se, but we are definitely an alternate, for sure. Along with the others like the Round Stable and Derpy Who's and like places like that. But we're trying to do some cool stuff here soon, so keep an eye out there. I'm trying to do some writing there. I also that's pretty much what I do for a living right now is write. I come from a journalism background. I've done some cool stuff before. You guys might have read some of my things on the internet, whether you know it or not, for mainly music sites and sports stuff. So I've also done some podcasting in school, DJing, radio, that sort of thing. So that's pretty much where this idea came from. Was I decided to do it through ponies, because I was like, hey, I have the experience. I know these guys can do it. So yeah. Let's see, I come from Ohio, so if you're ever in the area, please stop by and say hi or something. I don't know. And
you're somewhere in Ohio. Just go.
I'm
look
somewhere.
For him.
Just yeah. Just well, if you talk to me on Twitter, I'll tell you. And best pony is Peanut Bucker, the mascot of the Ohio Bronies meetup group. But if I have to pick a canon character, Spitfire is a pretty rad individual, if I do say so myself, and I do say so myself. And I love it. I love it when she's in episodes and when she's not going back to her home planet.
And you especially love it when she has more than one line.
Exactly. And has the same voice actress rather. Except she hasn't. At least she could be worse. Could be
Bon.
Anyway, so that's our group here. We'll usually have about 5 people, 4 people, whatever. And we're hoping, eventually we'll probably branch out where we might have like a guest host at some point, or just having someone on as a guest to interview and such.
Yeah.
That's
Strong or bust.
That'll be the goal one day.
Yeah, that's the plan eventually. Kind of like most other podcasts around here. But for now, basically the idea behind this podcast is we we're all friends. We've been friends before the show. We pretty much found out about the show through each other mainly, and we decided to do something because I know we definitely had it in us to do something cool like this or something else, and this was just kind of like the medium that we decided to pursue. But the basically the game plan behind this, if you decide to keep listening after this wonderful first episode, we're going to go through and talk about the news of the week. This is going to be a weekly podcast running on Fridays. Currently, that's the plan. Right now, we're not doing them live because we want to make sure we get all the kinks worked out before we start doing that, or even considering doing that.
Heck yeah, we have no idea what the hell we're doing.
So, as of right now, we're going to run weekly on Fridays. You'll be able to find us in a variety of places, including YouTube and SoundCloud and iTunes, as long as all goes well.
And MySpace.
In MySpace. I think it's our main audience there is MySpace.
MySpace and Friendster.
We're going to... And Zynga. Especially Zynga.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't even heard of the other two. Jesus.
Zynga was a fun thing.
I mean, plan to get a
Zynga,
GeoCities website at one point.
Zynga, isn't that
God.
that game where you got to pull the bricks out of the tower and then you...
Yes, that is exactly what it is. But that's the plan here. We'll go over the news of the week, a couple different ones, just kind of hit on them, kind of provide our commentary on it. That's kind of what we mainly want to do here. It is definitely a commentary type thing. We don't want to just like present the news to you and then just kind of sit on it and be like, yeah, so that happened, and then move on.
Feel free to discuss it in our forums.
The forums that we don't have.
I was going to say, we have
Yeah,
a forum.
yeah, well, we might get one eventually if there's people who actually start listening to this. And then we'll also do some other segments. Like this week, for instance, we're going to talk about a fanfic. We'll do some music, some art, that sort of thing. And if all goes according to plan, at least in the case of the music, we're going to be playing some of the music that we talk about in about 30-second or less snippets as we talk about it. So that'll at least be cool. You'll always be able to listen to it, and we should be covered under the fair use, so that we don't get hit with any lawsuits or anything. And if we do, oops, I don't understand copyright laws as I thought I did. But I think we should be good as we are, talking about it, comment and criticism, that sort of thing. So that's basically what we're going to be doing here, and we hope that you stick around and keep listening. And one last thing before we delve into everything we're going to do. This is our first podcast, and some sound issues may not be totally what we would like them to be.
So please
also
bear with us.
So yeah, please bear with us. We're going to make it better, for sure. I know, for instance, I don't have the best microphone equipment that I thought I had. I thought I was set and good to go, and then it turned out I wasn't. So if there's ever any instances where I, at least on my end, something sounds totally super bad, I apologize. I'm going to work on that. Everybody else should be fine.
What we're basically saying is, listen to us and give us money so we could get better equipment.
Yeah, well, we're not going to ask for money.
Oh, just
yet.
for future reference, even if he's not here, anything that goes wrong is Fusion's fault.
That
Yes.
is a good
That's the
point.
number
Thank you
one
for
rule
mentioning
that
that.
we should lay down.
The number one rule of this podcast is everything is Fusion's fault.
And he has no peeps.
Just
Everything's bad
remember,
is Fusion's fault.
Nemesis has tried to sink Britain so many times for things that have gone wrong. So many times. It's scary. It's kind of sad. We always talk him out of it the last second. But
One day.
one day. So yeah, let's jump into this, I guess. We've got a couple news things on tap today. We're going to talk a little bit about BronyCon, the documentary, because there were some teasers that were posted this week. We're going to talk about Enterplay's MLP trading cards and the fact that they are already sold out. We'll also hit on some other things. Canterlot Gardens announced some new guests this week. But the main thing we also want to talk about is Everfree Northwest ended yesterday after going over the weekend. Mr. Nemesis here was there and is going to talk about it. So we're going to have a first-hand account of what went on, so you know what happened. In case you weren't there, wanted to hear from a perspective of a guy who basically went as a fan. I mean, we're not the types that were there as like special guests or anything. He just went because he went, So that'll be good, as opposed to maybe hearing it from someone who was like a guest or bigger in the community and was there,
Or paid to go
experiencing. Yeah, and was there experiencing it from like a kind of a totally different perspective than someone like us, basically in this case, who would have just gone if the rest of us had gone too, just went and just kind of experienced it as a normal fan would. But before we get to that, we're going to start off with BronyCon, I suppose. As many of you already know, there is a documentary being filmed about the pony community and BronyCon especially. There were 2 new videos posted this week. In fact, it was posted over the weekend on the Kickstarter page for the project. One was a video of Bronypalooza at BronyCon. It was a live video of the Living Tombstone performing the Discord remix he did with Eurobeat Brony on vocals. And there was a lot of footage of John Delancey back in the background, soaking it all up. You can see some of the other people, like Tara Strong up there, and you get people dancing. It's a really cool video, and it's really cool to see that live. We'll talk about more here in a second. The other video is a video of a fan going up to get a thing signed from Tara Strong. What was it he was getting signed again? Do you guys remember what it actually
was? Lollipop chainsaw, foam chainsaw.
That's what I thought it was. It looked like a chainsaw. I can't remember exactly what it was. But he was getting that signed, and Tara decides to troll him and steal it and not give it back for most of the video. I guess first thoughts here. What did you guys think of the... this is basically really the first look that we've had at the quality of this. Also, I should mention that on the second video, the Tara Strong video, there is a disclaimer. Says, and I quote, "Pre-release footage video, audio quality does not reflect final product. All content subject for change." So, or to change rather. So, this isn't necessarily what it's going to look and sound like, but it's close. And I wanted to get your guys' opinions. What do you think so far? Is it looking like something that you definitely want to watch?
It's kind of hard to say because it's in such short snippets, but it's something definitely that's probably pretty entertaining to watch. But I guess it depends on what their goal is, because I think what they stated before was that the reason for doing it was because they wanted to put a positive light on the pony community. And so it's going to be interesting to see if they tackle that and how they do it. But it looks entertaining so far.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like Funky said, it's kind of hard to tell what the entire documentary is going to be like just from a, 3 minutes, 4 minutes total of video.
Yeah,
from that.
Pretty much, yeah.
Minute and a half on one and 2.5 on the other.
If the rest of the documentary does just have little snippets like the Tara Strong thing just in there and just showing what it's like at BronyCon, then it should be nice, especially if BronyCon isn't anything like Everfree and the attendees and stuff.
But I definitely think even though they said that the video quality didn't necessarily reflect the final product, I still think for now it sounds and looks pretty good. I mean, even if this ended up being the true final quality, I don't think this would be something that we'd be totally unhappy with.
Yeah, you can clearly distinguish what's going on and what everyone's saying, and I don't know what they recorded with the Tara Strong clip, but it seemed like just a standard kind of camera or camcorder. But because and plus it's in a convention. There's I guess in the BronyCon sense, there's thousands of people there, so it's it's gonna be noisy. So
yeah, I've seen professional quality stuff. Even they always the background just murmuring stuff from other people, but the thing is, you can't. It's hard to judge audio and video quality from an internet video, either HTML5 or Flash, because you're not going to get the best. I mean, it's because they're planning on doing like a Blu-ray and DVD release of this, right?
Yeah, from what I remember.
So yeah, that's going to be way higher quality than anything you'll be able to watch on the internet,
So yeah.
Absolutely.
especially streaming video, unless you actually there's a download copy available. Or
Yeah,
something.
I do hope it translates well. I can kind of think of, for instance, I mean, you guys this won't be lost on you because you all watching. I'm going to assume a lot of people who are listening to this probably have watched these too. That guy with the glasses does their anniversary videos every year, and I can remember, Suburban Nights last year being filmed in like HD, and while the quality was good, there was a lot of instances where like it was really like it didn't translate well. And so I'm hoping they can avoid that, and like it can be like a good product from start to finish. Like there isn't any like kind of like, I guess, half-assed segments. Like it's all of a good quality and such, which I think it will be. And I'm definitely excited to watch it. Obviously, not. I think it definitely has a lot of allure for people who went to BronyCon. Although I think it also has a lot of allure for people who just have envy of the people who went and want to see what they missed. Yeah, I mean, I think it'll definitely be cool to see how that con went and such, and get to see some behind the scenes stuff, perhaps. Is it going to help the community? That's kind of my question, because I don't think anybody necessarily going to want to watch it besides us, which maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I don't think anybody like. Is it going to like clean up our image with some people?
With so many people, no, there's no way. Not with some people. Some people are so dead set against this, nothing is going to change their mind.
Yeah,
but
right.
Other people it might help for like if they get a copy of this. Is like look, just watch this as explain. For like family members or friends, like this is what it's about for me and stuff. That might help them in that case.
Yeah, right. I agree.
I've seen it floating around, and I guess it depends how they tackled it. Because if they just focus on the positive stuff, then I guess that'll be fine. But I guess like it'll feel a little bit biased. Like if they just focus on the good of the community, and if they don't like I don't know if they're gonna go into like because I think it'd be more effective if it was like if they focus like on both sides, like the good part and then like the other part that kind of weirds people out, the people who take it to further levels and kind of touch on that. But I don't know if they actually are going to do that or they're just going to keep it nice and clean.
They said they were not. If I recall, they said they're going to try to ignore the more unsavory bits.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised, but
because I think they said they're trying to balance out because a lot of the attention on the fandom is already pretty negative.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're getting better though with media portrayal than we were at. I mean, I can remember just a couple months ago, if you had like a positive media story come out, like everybody was like, "Oh my God, really?" And I think now it's like kind of lessened. Like people are still excited, of course, but like it's not as much like, "Oh my God, I'm so surprised they did something," in either a positive or just unbiased light. Which I think in a lot of cases for bronies, unbiased is positive inherently. Because it means that they're not poking fun at things. But yeah, like
what do you think, Art?
Yeah. What does Art think?
Well, I mean, I don't even know how to where to start. Looking at it from like not being a brony, I'd say that like you guys, any negative stuff that might be going on, that's true of any fandom that's getting started. I mean, I'm sure like. Any cartoon out there that people watch that are outside the demographic that show's required for, they're going to start off by getting like all weird and like negative attention and not necessarily being looked upon very highly. I could definitely think of some people from fandoms of shows that I like that get that negative light because they're so far outside of like the demographic and everything like that. But it just it just kind of grows on people. It becomes like an accepted
But I think
thing.
the big thing, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, but I think the big thing, which I guess makes the pony community stand out more than everyone else, is just the sheer size of it. Because, yeah, like every show, every cartoon, every TV series, whether it be real life or cartoon or what have you, has its fans, the casual fans, the big fans, the people who like to do Rule 34, people who take it casually and things like that. But like since the pony fandom somehow is so huge and so outspoken that it's easy to focus on it because it's just like it's just really easy to just find. So I think that's like the big thing about it that makes why there's so much attention on it is because the fans are so outspoken and I guess that's a good thing but also a bad thing when it comes to that kind of stuff.
I suppose so. I mean, it's not, but at the same time, it's like I think it's good that the fans are so outspoken because if like bronies weren't so like happy and joyful and outspoken about the show they like and in any way, whether it's Rule 34 or whatever, that I think that would even probably be worse because then people would be like, well, these guys they really keep to themselves. Like what the hell's so like what the hell's going on with all these old guys that watch My Little Pony in their room in the dark and don't talk about it? It's just
yeah.
Like, there's it's more accepting if they're open about it than if they're closed about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'm curious, Art, from a perspective of your perspective of someone who wouldn't necessarily go out of his way to watch everything the fandom puts out. Would you be interested in watching this?
I would. I mean, I would be definitely interested in seeing what different lights that they shed on the fandom that maybe I didn't realize before. I'm sure it would be an enlightening thing for me to watch, being outside of that bubble and kind of like, oh, okay, this kind of clears up some preconceived notions that I might have had or that other people might have had. I think it could be something that could be very helpful to the fan base, and more power to the guys making the documentary. I mean, I hope that it's something that can only be good for the fandom.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. So we've got these 2 teasers up now, and they look pretty cool. And I think most people are at least somewhat excited about it. It sounds like of the prospect of it coming out. It sounds like winter 2012 is the current release.
Yeah, so later this year you can definitely check it out.
Later this year. I'm sure we'll see some more teasers here soon, and I will probably talk about them then when they're on here too. Does anybody else have anything else to add to this before we move on?
Nope.
All right. Cool.
Next order of business.
We'll make these segues less awkward eventually. Let's talk about Canterlot Gardens.
Oh
it's a
my!
Convention. It's a convention that's happening. It's happening in Ohio.
Oh, judging by the name, it doesn't take place in Canterlot.
No, it is not happening.
It doesn't.
But
what is this blasphemy?
Canterlot Gardens announced some new guests over the weekend as well. Their newest to add on to their already growing list of people. We've got Michelle Krieber, who does the voice of Apple Bloom and the singing voice of Sweetie Belle, and is known for collaborations with Manda Pony, etc. She'll be there. Also, this is a really cool one, I think. Britt McKillop and her sister Carly McKillop will be there as well. If you don't recognize that name, Britt was the voice of Princess Cadence, and has a wonderful singing voice. I mean, I would say at least. And she'll be there. Carly will be there too, her sister. I guess together they're part of a band called One More Girl. So they'll be playing some music there as well together. So that'll be pretty cool. I guess from what I understand, Michelle Krieber will be performing as well. And beyond that, Silly Philly Studios will be doing a panel there. They've done a couple cool animations based off of the pony community in the show.
I've only actually seen one of them. I don't know what other ones have they done.
The main one I know is the Luna one.
Yeah, that's the only one I've seen. But I think
it's actually But they'll be doing a panel on production,
on animation,
animation, how to form and run your own production group, as it says here. So so that's and that goes along with their already just humongous list of people that there's already going to be there anyway. And that's happening from September 28th to the 30th in Strongsville, Ohio. That's outside of Cleveland. Does anybody... We'll put it this way. Knowing what you guys know about the current lineup of the convention, would you, if say money wasn't an issue and you could just basically go to any convention you wanted, would you guys be interested in going to this convention?
I think so. Yeah. I think my question is like, I wonder how many people are actually going to end up going, because it always seems like these conventions always seem to kind of underestimate how many people are going to actually go. Even like the big one like BronyCon seem to have run into trouble like that. So with a lot of names like that, I think it's probably going to attract a lot of people.
Yeah, it's definitely going to attract a lot of people. I know when I was at TrotCon, I talked to a member of their staff who said they are definitely expecting quite a few people. So as in possibly selling out even, which it's cool to see another con like this that gets a lot of people. This is along with we've already had BronyCon this year and Everfree Northwest this past weekend, and now here's yet another that's a fairly large con with like a lot of big guests. It's going to be a big definite heavy hitter, and you definitely hope that they're prepared for it. I know that the people on the like at least the core staff especially do have a lot of experience running other cons. So you've got at least that going for them. They're not just kind of running into this blindly. So that at least is good and promising. And it's also cool to see someone like Brett McKillop, for instance, isn't really someone that you hear that about going to a lot of these. So that's pretty cool. And of course the obvious Andrew WK. I think it's a lot of people are going to be there because oh my God, Andrew WK. That's
he's going to be there too.
Yeah. You don't remember that?
I remember him announcing some cons, but I couldn't remember which ones they were. But
he will be at Canterlot Gardens. Yes.
Oh, okay, I remember now. But I thought that already happened. So, but yeah.
Oh no, that's happening in a little over a month.
Yeah, just next month.
And I know I'm possibly going to try to make it out there, up there. Originally, I was kind of on the fence. Mainly from a perspective of I don't know if I'm still going to be living in Ohio. I'm actively looking for jobs outside of the state, but I think chances are I'll probably still be here in a month, so I'll probably be going up there. I know I had a request from a publication for which I've written in the past that wanted me to go, mainly for Andrew WK to get to go to his thing and talk about what he said. Kind of like do a news story the next day. So, I mean, at the very least, I might show up and like kind of talk about that. And I don't know if I can make it for the whole weekend, but I might. Who knows? I know I definitely have some friends that are going up there. Being in the Ohio group, that helps. But yeah. So I mean, I think it looks like a cool con. Seems like you guys agree.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Seems like a pretty nice lineup.
I mean, getting Andrew WK and Brett McKillop to go is actually pretty big because, well, they haven't appeared at any of the other conventions, so.
Yeah, see that's what's good because you kind of worry sometimes with if you're just like a convention that's just announcing as many people from the staff as you can. It's like, well, then you might just kind of seem like BronyCon or Everfree or whatever, so just part 2 or part 3 or part whatever you're at that point. So it's good that they have some sort of like oh hey, these guys haven't been at one yet. Andrew WK may never come to one again because that definitely seems kind of like a one-shot type thing. So yeah, it sounds really interesting.
It'll be a one-shot thing because at the end of his performance, he's gonna burn down the place, so no one's ever gonna want him at another convention. So
yeah, that happens. Oh hey, I just got my 83rd follower on Twitter.
Screen cap.
This calls for a celebration of some kind.
Score one for the good team.
For our listeners out there, 83 is kind of a special number for us, so as you may find out. So
because it's a cat face.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Exactly. Spoiler.
Anyway, spoiler alert.
Also, Bruce Willis is dead.
And also, number 83 is my OC. You're not stealing. So yeah, that's Canterlot Gardens for you. If you're going, I hope to see you there. Perhaps if I end up being there too. I doubt these guys will be there because it's a little.
Yeah.
Unless if we decide we end up catching fire immediately, and they're like, "Please come to our convention," and we're like, "Okay," because I know Bronyville's not going to be there now. At least that's what they said on their website. So maybe they need another podcast to fill the void.
We'll do it if you pay for us.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't need to pay for me since I just need to drive 3 hours up. But these other guys, yeah, because I'm guessing because I looked up Everfree tickets from Ohio about a month in advance, and it was like round trip and about $1,200. So
Jeez.
I'm guessing
Ow.
it'll be about the same for you, Nemesis, since you're coming from that
Yeah.
area. So yeah, I mean, who knows? It might actually be cheaper. You might be lucky.
Because no one wants to
Might
go
be-
to Ohio.
But, I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to be in Ohio. Well, so
I'll go to Ohio,
you were just here last weekend. Shut up.
You're the
so I
outlier.
want to go back.
I'd love for you to come back. Anyway, so I guess we'll move on. Canterlot Gardens, go if you aren't going already. If you want, if the politics surrounding it, since obviously there's been quite a bit. If you're on Twitter or anything, we won't go into that.
Yeah.
That's a totally different story entirely. So what do we got coming up next is Interplay. If you don't know who Interplay is, you're probably not alone. But they are the company that creates the MLP trading cards that were just a big thing here for a little while after they came out. Well, if you got some, lucky you, because they have officially sold out.
Not just like sold out at a convention, sold out across the country.
Yes, indeed.
And they're not gonna go into production for was it like the end of September? They said, and start making
Yes,
more.
there's not going to be another run printed until the end of September. So as of right now, if you don't have pony cards, you might get lucky and find one at a Toys R Us, Hot Topic, whatever. If you're in an area of the country or your respective country, whatever, that doesn't have a lot of bronies, and you might get lucky that way. I know there's
find
plenty.
one pack buried under the shelf at the very
Yeah, right.
back.
I mean, I know there's plenty. I was at a Walmart the other night. I mean, Art can attest to this. I live kind of outside of a major city, but after a while, you're kind of in the middle of nowhere. And I know I was at a Walmart the other night that had quite a few of them, because I don't know of any bronies around there. So
What you should do is buy them all and then sell them for profit.
I probably shouldn't I? But
That's what I would
so
do.
you might get lucky and find some, but I'm interested. I'm assuming you guys have all looked at these trading cards and have maybe even own them.
I have
Do
one.
you guys think they're worth all the rage that they've already sold out?
They're not as cool as my Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but I guess they're pretty good.
Nothing's as cool
I'll
as Yu-Gi-Oh
I'll see your
cards.
Yu-Gi-Oh cards and raise you a whole collection of Pokemon cards with the original 150. Just take that.
Oh, I've got my my holographic Machamp that everybody got by going and seeing
Nerd
the first
fight.
movie.
Oh god, I think I actually do still have that one somewhere.
Because everybody had it. If you didn't have it, you're like...
What
If
the
you didn't
fuck
have
is
it, you
wrong
sucked.
with you?
It was.
One of my favorite things about just breaking in here. One of my favorite things about this whole, them selling out is if you go on Interplay's website, they have a news story about the cards running out, and the headline is MLP promo cards are a rarity.
Yeah, I saw that and I kind of
Oh my
And I
God.
was
get it.
Even Art would be kind of ashamed.
although they're actually just
I
talking
am
about
ashamed.
they're actually just talking about the special rarity foil card. But I thought it would be really funny if they were talking about the sellout. Oh, I get it.
The blue eyes white rarity.
Oh God, this is what you're gonna draw when you get off tonight. You're just gonna be like, screw this, guys.
Podcast ending already. I gotta draw this now. It was fun talking to you guys.
Screw the podcast. I have pot drawing.
But now, maybe Interplay will get into doing My Little Pony Pogs. I would definitely get into that. And I don't know if anybody knows what they are, so I'm just gonna just.
No,
go with
I
something.
remember Pogs.
Did you say Pogs, man?
I said Pogs. No one knows what
Pogs
Pogs
are awesome, man.
Yeah, they were like a
I had
big
like a whole
nice thing.
tube of them. This massive tube of them. I had this gigantic, I can't remember. It was like a quarter-inch thick launcher.
Yeah, they need to get on that. Everyone loves Pogs, even if no one knows what the hell they are. The fact that there's ponies
Pogs are
on
gonna
them.
come back, man.
Just
My
you
little
wait.
pogs.
Hey, if Terrorstone could bring back slap bracelets, then
Slot bracelets are totally a thing again, and I'm so happy about it.
Oh, to get back on the thing about whether the cards are worth it. Based on the quality and of the Fluttershy card I got at Everfree, they are giving them out free to everyone. I think they are. If you just like having stuff like that. I don't think it's actually like Yu-Gi-Oh or anything like this. Actually, a game like that, it's just you collect the cards.
yeah, the kind of like baseball cards.
And there's
you
supposed
just
to be a
collect-
couple rare ones, like there's supposed to be the what is it, the shiny or foil?
Yeah, they're
I
like
don't remember what they call
foil,
it.
like the foil rarity, and then I think there was like one like that was limited edition like Rainbow Dash that they handed out at Comic Con to like 100 random people, I think.
Yeah.
So
There's gonna be stuff like that, but yeah, it's just kind of surprising that it sold out that fast. I mean, these just came out like a month ago at most.
Yeah, like it's very recent.
yeah, the news hadn't been out that long from what I can remember, because it just seemed like it was just like a little while ago, like oh hey, My Little Pony trading cards, and then just today, oh hey, they're all out. Like wow, people sure do love their ponies and cards.
They sure do. They sure do. Well, we'll keep this moving along here. We're not going to really talk about this very much, but one of the things we're going to probably do here eventually is we'll have kind of like a lightning round of news stories, and we're not really going to talk about them much. Just kind of, if you don't happen to follow along with news sites, we can kind of clue you in on some of the cool things happening. The only thing we got this week, because we just this just went up today, My Little Investigations is
Having a contest.
Equestrian Dreamers. They're running a contest for a chance for your OC to win a spot in their the My Little Investigations game. So if you're interested, you should definitely hit up their website, which is equestriandreamers.com. And they're not really looking for too much. Just there's a couple rules. It needs a name, picture, brief background description of the character. You can submit multiple OCs, although only one's going to win.
One per person, from what I remember.
You have 1 month to submit your entries. So that's September 19th is the deadline there.
So
no Grimdark Rule 30. Yeah, no Grimdark Rule 34, etc. Yeah, moving on from there. So
I
yeah,
I can't submit my OC anal beads then.
You cannot. That is inappropriate.
Damn it.
You're being banned.
Shame on you.
But so yeah,
you.
if that sounds like something you're interested in, you should definitely check it out. September 19th, once again, is the deadline on that. And so yeah, get drawn or submit whatever, and hope you win. I might submit mine, and we'll see what happens. And maybe these other guys will too.
Yeah, I can draw. Maybe I'll do it.
Yeah, maybe I'll do it. We haven't seen an OC from you yet. Actually, I guess we haven't seen an OC from... Well, unless you count that one Surge through.
Yeah.
Anyway. our good friend Surge Styles, who can draw. So, I guess we're going to get into the meat of the discussion here.
Oh boy.
Now, before we hit the end of our show, where we talk about some other quick hits like music and fanfics and stuff, and that is Everfree Northwest. If you don't know what that is,
shame on
I'm
What's wrong with
surprised. I'm very surprised, and that is But if you don't know, it's a pretty sizable pony convention that happened outside of Seattle, Washington last weekend. Went on for 3 days. There were many, many, many guests there from the show, mainly because the show, has its roots in Vancouver, Canada, and that's very close by. Just not too much of a hassle to get them down there. So they had quite a few of the show guests there, quite a few big people in the community, and they also had this guy named Nemesis who was there.
Yeah.
as a guest
He
of
was
honor.
as a guest of
Yeah,
honor.
okay.
That they knew beforehand. They're like, this guy.
We gotta get this guy here.
We got to get this guy before he makes a podcast complaining about it. So
Oops,
I
too
guess
late.
but I guess there's a lot of cool things happened. I know, for instance, a drawing that was made by John Giseco hit $2,000 at one of the auctions there, which is pretty cool. It's a lot of money. I remember seeing throughout the week a lot of initiatives, charity-wise, did very well. I remember Lee Tokar was talking about some on Twitter. So a lot of cool things came from it.
What charity did that go to exactly?
I'll have to look that up.
I'm pretty sure it's Seattle Children's Hospital.
Yeah,
I'm almost
that
certain
sounds
of that.
correct.
That's what they said at the end.
Okay, yeah, I knew it was a hospital of some sort.
Yeah, it went to a real good cause.
Yeah, so, which is really cool. And then you certainly can't say bronies aren't. You know, we definitely do a lot of this type of things. These types of things rather. Which is really cool. I'm glad that our money goes towards cool things like that. But Nemesis, you were there. Do you just kind of want to get into talking about it?
Sure.
First of all, you know, the basic question here. All in all, would you say, you know, success, not success?
Let me think. Based on what they had, and considering all the setbacks they actually had, I'd say overall was a success.
Okay, well, you mentioned some setbacks. Let's start with the bad here, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean when you say that?
Well, first off, okay, so I got Friday morning. The registration is supposed to open at 8 and go to 10, which, you know, no big deal. 2 hours, get everyone registered. Okay, go do your stuff.
To begin with, okay, I ran the registration or helped run. Sometimes I actually was running it, but anyway, the registration booth at the TrotCon that happened about a month ago, and we had all in all about 700 attendees total, including about 550 that came through alone on that first day. We couldn't even do it in 2 hours.
Yeah.
So that's a little. So for a convention that's basically expecting probably about twice that number. Yeah. So anyway, sorry to interject there.
It kind of got crazy. So what happened was, my friend and I, we got there a little after 8. So we thought people were already going to be registering and stuff. No, they're just herding everyone to a room. Herding, sorry. But anyway. So anyway, we're all sitting in a room wondering what's going on, what's taking them so long. You know, checking my phone, seeing what time it was. It's 8:30, you know. And then eventually came in, we're sorry, we're having trouble with registration. Please bear with us for a bit. We'll get started as soon as possible. And then eventually it's 9:30. They're like, okay, we're going to start calling out small groups of people just on our system. One of you got here, you'll go up. And then eventually like, okay, now we're having a problem. There's too many people in the hallway. It's a fire hazard. We're just going to make registration optional for the day. They actually literally just had to make registration optional for the first day because they could not do anything fast enough. Part of the problem was apparently they had only one guy who knew how the registration system worked. He got sick that morning, and they actually had to call the paramedics for him. He got that sick.
Oh, wow.
So right there, and they started having problems with the registration system, and no one knew how to fix it. So they started, you know, it was being slower than it was supposed to be. So that right there was problem number one. You know, just unfortunate series of events.
But once it so did you end up registering the second day?
I wound up. They kept registration open all day on Friday instead of just having it open in the morning. So what happened was they'd have just people registering throughout the day, and I think by the time it finished on Friday, they finally got most, if not all, the people registered who showed up that day.
Because I was just going to ask how fast they were moving them through, but if they ended up just saying kind of, you know, come at your own leisure that first day, then I guess that doesn't really count. I'm also curious, and I think I know the answer to this. I just want to clarify. Everfree did not allow people at the door. You had to pre-register, correct?
Yeah, you had to pre-register because they were completely sold out. There was no coming in and just saying, I want to buy a badge.
Nope.
Okay, so if you wanted to but was there anything stopping you on that Friday from getting in if you hadn't registered?
Theoretically, no.
Okay.
If you wanted to get in on that Friday and you weren't actually registered, it was in theory possible to get through. I'm not sure if anyone tried it, but
I'm not saying that's a you know, something that they should have, you know, tried to avoid. I think it sounds like they probably did the best they could do with
yeah, it's basically
the
either leave everyone in the room all day or just let them go free and do what they paid to do. So Yeah, at one point I remember the line for registration. So people were still lining up, trying to line up because they said just go ahead. They had the line. The line went all the way from one end of the hotel to the other. It was going so slow they could not get it going. Just. I mean, my friend and I, we didn't get registered until about 2:00 that afternoon after we came back after eating something. And we just like hit a lucky time when there's like 3 people in line. We were able to get in and get going in like 5 minutes. But that was another problem. Was one of the main like panel rooms was at the top floor of the Holiday Inn, so they'd have to have packed like 10 or 11 people in an elevator, and there's only 3 elevators. And then so now you're seeing the problem. It takes forever for anyone to get up to the panel room. So if you weren't there, and so if you tried to show up like 20 minutes before, there's a good chance you weren't going to get in if it was a really popular panel.
And so they couldn't use stairs.
Well, yeah, they could have used this. It's weird because one set of stairs came up behind the stage, so they didn't want people back there. There's another set of stairs. The hotel kept telling everyone these lock, so you can't go through them. But other people are saying no, I was able to walk through just fine. So I don't know. They're like saying they lock from the outside, so you can get through the stairs on the top floor. But then other people are saying no, they open up just fine. So there's just a few logistical problems, like they wouldn't start letting people into the panels until they were supposed to start, or sometimes after. So this cascade effect of everything got pushed back further and further in the day because one thing started off late. This was particularly bad at the Saturday morning, where the first thing of the day was the big panel of the voice actors. They call it Main 6 minus 2 because Ashley Ball wasn't, unfortunately, not able to come. But so it was at the top floor again. And people are like, I was like, we got there a little after 8 again. Everyone's already lined up because, everyone wants to see this one. This is the big one. And 9:30 comes. I'm thinking they got to be letting people in by now. Still no one's letting in. We're all still waiting. By 10:10, they finally start letting people onto the elevator to get up. And by the time the panel started, it was like 10:40. 40 minutes late, which caused everything else to be late because there's more stuff in that room all day. Because every single time they have to have space between each panel so they can tear down or reset for the next one. And there's just a few other problems I didn't personally experience. Like just apparently some people said there's rude staff, and some of the staff were not poorly trained. And plus there's the part just had to walk between the hotels all day, just constantly back and forth because it was up a hill and it was just kind of tiring. But
how far was it in between the hotels?
I wouldn't say it was too far, but I think a quarter of a mile would be a good estimate, maybe not that much, but it was uphill, a fairly steep hill, because anyone who lives in Seattle knows there are pretty darn steep hills in the area.
Yeah.
So you had to walk up to the Marriott, which is where like they had autograph sessions and stuff, and then if you want to go to the Holiday Inn, which was where most of the big panels were, you had to walk back down. But I guess I'm focusing too much on the negative right now, so I should probably move on to the positive.
Yes, he's not all negative, we promise.
I'm honest, I'm not. I actually did have a fun time. So they had the dealer hall in the Marriott, which was the one at the top of the hill. And there's a lot of good stuff in there. I mean, you had the artists, you had like John Joseko, you had Pixel Kitties was in there. You had people making customs. There was We Love Fine booth was in there. There was people like selling those little hats that like have the ears and horns and the manes on them. There are people selling the plushies, customs, commissions for drawings, little buttons. Of course, the blind bags. Almost everyone had the blind bags to sell because those are popular. Those are huge.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, a lot of them, there's like they'd sell them loose. They'd already opened them up just so no one would be sitting there reading through trying to find that particular one they want because that's what everyone would do.
Great idea.
Some of them also had them just had like one box and they had them sealed still, but they let you root through it if you want to. But yeah, the We Love Fine booth was mobbed so fast. It's like that was the one problem with it is that the first day there was just this massive group of people you couldn't get through because everyone was trying to get to buy shirts and stuff, but they fixed that later on.
Oh yeah.
I actually, I'm trying to remember his name now. I can't remember his name, and I feel bad for it. He was right next to John Joseko. or not next to him, behind him. And I got a poster from him.
Was this oh god, was this one Garrett Gilchrist?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. It was him. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. I felt so bad for not remembering his name.
Well, I know you forgot him the other day too, and we looked on the map, and I think we determined that it was him.
Oh yeah, but yeah, there's like plushies, because everyone loves these plushie things, and you're unfortunately again selling for like $100 or more, unless you got a really small one, and then they're selling for $40. Someone was selling these customs, like they were like 100%. They weren't like repainted ones; they were like 100% from scratch customs for like $90 to $110, depending on who you wanted.
Sounds pretty crazy, but at the same
People
time,
making keychains out of blind bags. Someone made a Wonderbolts dash. My friend bought that because, well, it's like he's a huge Rainbow Dash fan, unfortunately.
for some reason.
Sounds like my kind of man.
There's also all sorts of cosplayers I saw. I mean, one of the booth people, they're dressed as Applejack and Granny Smith, and I think one of them was also dressed as Big Mac. Just selling stuff in there. I saw several Twilight cosplays. One of them was also running a booth. I saw a Rarity cosplay, which it was a guy in high heels and a dress, which I know it's just kind of odd when you see that because you're like, you don't really expect it. Then, of course, there was the somewhat, I guess, infamous Celestia cosplay, the actual horse type thing. The guy's on his,
There were two people.
It's just one guy. What it is, he's got these little handle extender things for his hands, so he doesn't have to bend way over to walk. But the thing is, he's also completely blind when he's in the suit, so he has to have someone with him constantly telling him where to go. which is why he almost ran into me with the horn one day.
This seems like a good idea.
I'm just leaning against the wall, waiting around for something. It was like really early in the day, and he just comes by, take a picture. Then all of a sudden, watch, and then the guy's like, "So watch out!" He's just walking towards me, and the horn's coming right for my face. And yeah, the guide person said, "Don't send him to the moon."
Melissa almost got you.
Yeah. I saw people in Twilight and Shining Armor, like full-on suits with glowing horns and everything. I think they're both girls, though, because I heard both of them talking. No idea who they were, though. I saw this really, really nice cosplay I wish I saw more of, but it's neither there. But they're the panels, though. The actual panels. I'm trying to remember what the order they were, but the big one, of course, like I said, was the voice actor one, which was a lot of fun just because you had Nicole Oliver, the voice of Celestia. You had Andrea Libman, Kathy Weisluck. I can never remember how to pronounce the last one. I think it's Westluck. But then there's also, of course, Tara Strong and Tabitha St. Germain all in one panel just talking about stuff. And there's some really good questions, actually, some of them from the audience. Kathy Weisluck kept doing the Spike voice, which is pretty cool to hear. And it was also funny because Tabitha, she would talk about at one point there was a question about what's your process for like getting into the voice, like figuring out the voice, and she's just talking about every single time she starts talking about Rarity, she starts slowly slipping into the Rarity voice. And she started doing it because she had to kind of stop and think for a second, then show what her actual voice, normal voice, sounds like, and then all of a sudden, she just starts slipping right back into Rarity again.
She actually has a split personality, and that's her her other side.
Good. Yeah, Tara kept doing all the sorts of voices she's done all throughout the years. I heard her do Bubbles, Poof, Twilight.
I would imagine.
She's also talking about the fandom itself. Like she said, the Twilight Licious thing, which, got huge on the internet. She said she did a Ravenlicious. I think she said she did the Timmy-licious on that shirt. Yeah, she just did all these different characters, and that's the Twilight Licious is the only one that caught on like crazy. Like everything else was just ignored. But the Twilight one just went crazy. We got the animation, we got the drawings, and the remixes, and that's the reason I got a poster that I'm looking at right now with her sign, which she signed, Twilight Licious poster. There was a panel with the CMC later on Sunday. Yeah, I'm not going to go in any order. I cannot think of that right now. It's weird because like the CMC voice actors, it was like they were just actual friends. It's so weird just watching them interact. We're acting like the CMC do in the show, except a little older.
Yeah.
Just, fighting with each other and stuff and telling each other to shut up, I'm talking, and stuff like that. You'll see it if you look at the voice, because, all these panels and stuff are all on YouTube or whatever, and you'll see it. It's just so weird just seeing that and talk like that. I attended the Equestria Daily panel, which was interesting, sort of. Kind of hard to describe, just because it's behind the scenes of Equestria. Basically, they talked about what it's like for them to run Equestria Daily, and they're just talking about how it started off from 4chan, and that's all they're doing. They're just compiling stuff from 4chan, so it's easy to see what for someone who was not there all day, they could just get a quick synopsis of what happened in a day. And they start off like the first draw front is only 5 drawings, all from 4chan. And now we got like 20, 30, 40 per every day. And it used to be, I think there used to be times that just go a couple days without ever seeing another one. And then all of a sudden now we got them daily. And it's just every day is just insane. And they talk about how they get, I think, I can't remember how many, like 100,000 unique page views a day. And it usually is, that's in the off season. During the season, it's about 800,000 a day.
Jeez. How
That's
horrifying.
That's quite a few.
Yeah, it kind of shows it's like being at the right place at the right time. Just took off.
Yeah, absolutely. They've definitely kept a good monopoly on it too. You have other sites out there, but you definitely don't hear about them nearly as much as you do Equestria Daily. It's just the go-to place right now. It may always be that way.
Basically at this point, if you want to be well known, you got to get on Equestria Daily.
Hint, hint.
Yeah.
Is
Nudge, nudge.
Equestria Daily like the godfather of pony websites? You have to go through them if you want to get somewhere.
Practically, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
sure.
it's not like being malicious about it, but it's just if you're not on Equestria Daily, you're like unknown. Like no one knows about you. But
we know where to put this podcast.
Yeah, eventually. But I think the biggest question, or at least for me, is that do a lot of people go there because it is a really, really good, reliable source, or is it just because it is the most familiar one and people just don't bother looking for more?
A friend of mine, he goes to the Equestria Daily all the time. I sometimes do too, but I'm not like as obsessive about it as he is. But a lot of people, it's an easy way to get a good idea of what's going on right now, especially when it comes to news. Yeah, it's going to be there real quick. And when it comes to like fan created content, it's like you see the best of the best. Usually, it's like this is the stuff that is going to be good, almost no matter what. Whereas if you just go through DeviantArt or Derpy Brew, you're gonna go through a lot of crap sometimes before you see the good stuff.
You're gonna take a gamble.
Yeah. With Equestria Daily, at least it's gonna be aesthetically pleasing if it's art, or it's gonna sound good. It's not gonna sound like someone, or like with music, it's not gonna sound like someone recorded in his garage with a tin can.
Because I myself don't go there very often, but
I know some people don't. Now. I know a lot, but it's going back to Everfree. It was also kind of when I was getting an autograph from Tara on Saturday. It was kind of, some people remarked on this, but like Tara had this massive line, and like the other voices are like maybe 3 or 4 people in their lines. It's like sometimes you just kind of felt bad for them. It's like, wow, this one person's got like 20 people, and everyone else has got like 3 or 4. And then you got the singing voices. They like almost had no one ever come up. But the part of the problem was the fact that the autographs cost $20 a pop. You want an autograph from someone, you could pay $20. No matter, you paid $20, you got a voucher, and then you go to whatever table you wanted to. But the fact is $20 means if you want 2 autographs, that's 40, and then 60, 80. You want 5 autographs, that's $100 right there.
Yeah, so it's like, it's getting a little steep there. Like, I feel sorry for you, but I don't want to pay another $20. It's not personal.
Yeah, it's like, I didn't have another $20 to spend. But, speaking of the autograph panel, when I was standing in line waiting for Tara, the CMC voice actors came in, the actresses came in, sat down, they're just talking among each other. And Michelle Craver said, that Back to the Future was one of the greatest movies ever, and I wanted to shout right there, "I'm the guy with the DeLorean. If you've seen it, you want to see it right now?"
We're just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Sign my DeLorean.
You should definitely get an underage girl to come back to your car.
Yeah.
I was on this say, like,
That will work out well.
I got a DeLorean if you want to come check it out
I
later.
swear, I'm at a My Little Pony convention,
Oh.
and I wanted to.
No,
That's
wait,
gonna go over well.
you don't get it. Like, don't tase me, bro.
It's all right, dear. This man drives a DeLorean.
Shoot, I'm trying to remember what the other panels. Oh, there's also, of course, Pony Stock, the music. I was
just about to ask you about that.
I didn't get to go on Friday or Saturday because those were late at night, and I had to go back home because I wasn't chasing a hotel because $190 a night. No, I'm not doing that. If I can get there and back on $30 a day, not even that. But anyway, so I missed the first two. I heard they were really good. At least the first one to actually start off pretty rough, but got really good later on once they got their things. Because I started off really, really late. Start off I think almost over an hour late by the time they actually got going. Because of the whole schedule creep. But I got to go on the Sunday one, which started in the morning. But again, that was an annoying thing. They had a musician panel beforehand, talking to all the musicians about how they got into it, why they decided to remix songs, what their favorite style is, if there's anything they're doing particular, maybe if they want to branch out. And then, of course, it's in the same room as Pony Stock. And then what they do is everyone who went to the panel, who were probably the biggest fans of these musicians, were kicked out so they could reset for Pony Stock. And I came back, there was almost no difference, except they moved a table or two. It's like, and they were still setting up the audio stuff. It's like, you didn't really need to kick people out to move some tables. And it's like, these are the people who are in the musician panel, probably the people who really want to hear them the most. So why not let them stay? But anyway, that's just a personal thing. But yeah, Pony Stock was really cool. He started off with some folk type music, folk music type stuff, little guitar, just playing harmonica, the mic singing with him. The cool thing about the harmonica was he said he could play any song except for this aria from the show. And so he said, "Give me a request, and we'll play." And then he starts playing, and everyone starts singing along. So it was like we hear "Smile, Smile, Smile" and "Art of the Dress" and "Winter Wrap Up" were all played. And then
Did anybody request Freebird?
No, unfortunately.
Oh.
No one wants to be that guy. That Freebird, man.
Did anybody request 4 Non-Blondes? What's up?
But
I said, "Hey, what's going on?"
And then we eventually got into the electronic music and the dubstep and stuff, and that was loud. But it was awesome because it was like Whitetail and I'm trying to remember the other one. I can never remember. Now I'm thinking the names, but I can't remember which name belongs to which guy. Yeah, it's just then you got the dubstep, and then we left when Yelling at Cats got on stage, but I'm not gonna get into why.
Yeah, it's a whole other story entirely.
Yeah, I could devote like an entire podcast just to Yelling at Cats.
While yelling at cats.
Exactly. yelling at cats. But overall, it was just so awesome. And when we were waiting in line at one point, Peter New just walked by, and we're all just like, he just fist bumps everyone, bro hoof to everyone, just in line, just walk. It was just, that was awesome.
Don't you mean hoof bumps, everybody?
No, it's Brohoos.
Yeah, it's bro hoof.
That's what it's called.
That's what I just said, and of course you ignored it and tried to ruin it. And good job.
Horrible.
Bro hoof, more like bro hoof. Am I right?
But
the magic of editing, anything can be removed.
Oh man,
I'm removing that.
One nice thing they did was because when they realized, this is a lot of people, and not everyone's gonna be. They set it up so that initial room where registration sitting was, and if it was empty, it became the overflow room. You could watch the live stream in there of the panel. Unfortunately, what happened was there'd be staff would say, "Oh, it's full, you can't get in," and then you see the live stream. There's half the room's empty. It's like, you said it was full. Yeah, it just turns out it was just a lot of just bad counting. They're trying to count people out in line, and they just did not count properly. And apparently they had a problem with a couple people. What they do is they'd lie and say they're going up to their room and say, go up on the 4th floor, wait. And then when the next elevator came up, they just got on with them and went up to the 12th floor. Yeah.
Sneaky.
So,
Pretty sneaky,
and they also had a
sis.
nasty problem of they'd let people wait upstairs in this little hall, narrow hall. Well, actually, it was pretty wide hallway, but when you got a bunch of people waiting, it becomes very narrow. They'd let people wait up there, and then that turned into a nasty, nasty situation. Now they force people to wait outside of the hotel, which became a lot better because the hallway stayed clear. And then they let in a group of like 8 people at once. Okay, wait for the next elevator. Okay, you can all come in, and then then they send them up next elevator. The group of 8 people, and so on. It worked. They started getting more efficient as time went on. They're starting to figure it out.
Because last thing you want to do is reenact Dawn of the Dead. So.
Oh, and I also watched Ponies the Anthology too. Even though I already seen it, it was the strangest thing because at the end it's like I'm surprised so many people came to see the anthology. Because I'm serious, the line was so long. It was like seriously like double what they had available in the room. Like at least they could fit like 110 people in that room. There was like at least 200 people in line just to watch a video that's been on the internet for over a month. And then I'm just in there because my friend had never seen it, so because he has a crap internet connection, so an hour and a half YouTube video is not going to be fun for him to try to watch. So he's in there and we're watching it, and then at the end they're like, "Okay, how many of you have never seen it?" And then like 3/4 of the room raise their hand. I'm like, "Wow." I'm wondering, did they just wait because they heard it was going to be here, or did they never get around to it? And the thing is, they had to also edit this version of the video because they had to make sure everything stayed somewhat kid-friendly. Which was funny because I remember when we were waiting at registration on day 1, they decided to play the first anthology video. And it's like people there just kind of forgot what's in the first anthology.
Yeah.
So they had to have someone up at there waiting, just sit there and mute certain skits, unfortunately. So they just completely muted them and then turn it back on in the next skit. Oh, man.
Okay. Well, sounds like a good time. Is there anything else that you didn't hit on?
A lot of people stopped to see my car. A lot of people.
We have a...
Who wouldn't want to see that car? The car's badass.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so...
It is a really cool car. Y'all should see it.
Like I said at the top of the show, I was the guy. So if you were at Everfree and you're listening to this and you saw the DeLorean, that was mine.
And it's only his. You can't steal.
You can't have it. You can't drive it. You cannot touch it.
Yeah, we could barely touch it.
Yeah, I mean...
And you won't fix your computer.
No. Yeah, so the good news is... one good news, when I was at at the end of Sunday, they had a panel they called Winning Store, where basically you can say, okay, what did we do right, what did we do wrong? Mostly it was about what they did wrong. But one thing is they confirmed Everfree next year is July 5th through 7th at the SeaTac Hilton, which is way better because, okay, when they were planning Everfree, they were expecting when they first started planning, they were expecting about 275, and that's what they were geared up for. They're about 270 to 300 people most. That's when they're first planning, and this is what they were gearing up for, and that's what it seemed like they're going to hit. And then it exploded. And they had to scramble. They're trying to find another venue. The only place that they could get was the Marriott, which was up the hill. And it's like it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And then I heard the number I was hearing thrown around was 1,500 to 1,600 people who attended Everfree, which
That's
was
a lot
like,
of bronies.
that's basically 8 times as anywhere from 5 to 8 times as many people as they were expecting. And the thing was, everyone, from my hearing, almost everyone who registered showed up, which almost never happens. You always get those people register but never show up.
Well,
And so they confirmed they're going to be in the Hilton, which was across the street. And the thing is, the Hilton can hold 4,500 people comfortably for a convention.
Yeah.
They have one room that can hold almost the entirety of this year's attendance in one room. It's a room designed to hold 1,500 people for a panel or whatever. So that's one thing they're fixing. But another nice thing though I heard was, okay, so the hotel we were at, they hosted some conventions before, but they said the group here at Everfree were probably some of the nicest people they have ever had for a convention ever, bar none. There was like we were all polite. Weren't rude. We weren't rude to the staff. We were well organized. We were quiet most of the time, except for when we were singing. It was just they were so surprised. They were just bracing for this horrible people to come in, and they got these super nice people that were just so kind and stuff.
I heard the same thing about BronyCon too.
Yeah, it's just they're so surprised about how nice we were, and they actually when things started to go wrong, the Everfree Twitter was starting to say, okay, this panel's been moved or pushed back or canceled or whatever, which is another thing that just reminded me. So we saw my friend and I saw the Friendship is Witchcraft premiere, which was pretty darn funny, and I can't wait for everyone else to be able to see it. And right after was supposed to be the Double Rainbow premiere. And we're all sitting there waiting for it to start, and then all of a sudden I'm hearing it's been canceled. Turns out they didn't know until about 20 minutes before it was supposed to start that Double Rainbow just did not happen because the people just did not show up.
Oh.
I don't know if they finally got around to telling them they weren't showing up, but it got canceled because at the last second they had to scramble to fill it.
For 20 minutes they just showed Spider Jack.
That's the best possible
in place of Double
thing.
Rainbow.
What they did instead was they were gonna have impromptu musician panels, and they canceled it and moved the Whose Line Is It Any Pony into that room, and they moved the musicians into the room where the Whose Line Is It Pony was going to be, and then musician like VIP waiting area because they're going to start gearing up for pony stock. But yeah, and another thing was I want to say, I guess as a wrap. Oh wait, no. One other thing I saw was My Little Investigations, which is shaping up to really, really good as well because they switched from Java to C++, and it's looking really fun. And they confirmed that Twilight will have an epic objection pose, just like from
Phoenix Wright.
They said they said that's all they'll say, but they just confirmed that she'll do it at least once. But to wrap up about this, I mean, people like to say that this fandom is full of weirdos and freaks, and I really didn't see that. I mean, I guess there's like maybe 10 people total I thought maybe where I was a little leery of, but 10 out of 1,600. I mean, these people were kind and generous and polite and
great kissers.
Basically. And basically, it just seemed like they were just normal people who just happened to be watch My Little Pony. That's it. I mean,
that's good. We like that.
Yeah, there was nothing really. I mean, the worst thing I encountered was just a couple of people who just, did not understand they're standing in the middle of the hallway and they're kind of blocking up the walkway. But you encounter that everywhere.
Yeah.
So I guess they are normal people.
And then you see it in the news next day. Like, this just in: Brony's the black people's hallways and everywhere. And it just evolves into, Bronies become bad drivers and who knows.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy that, it's just kind of, I guess, frustrating for me. Just like, some people outside of the fandom are so hostile to people in the fandom. I mean, something Tara Strong brought up during the VA panel. She was talking about how on Twitter, she has literally gotten death threats simply because she voices Twilight Sparkle. Not from like people like other ponies, just because she voices a pony in the first place. She has literally gotten death threats before it.
That's
kind of
messed up.
And you consider us sick in the head, and you're the one sending death threats to someone who's just working,
who's just doing their job.
They're doing their job. She's doing her job. And you're sending her death threats. I mean, she said something like she once got a message on Twitter from someone saying, "I'm going to slit your throat and stand over your body laughing while you bleed out." And she reported to Twitter. And what does Twitter do? Twitter says, "Oh, that's not against our terms of use." What?
Seems legit to me.
Yeah, but just to, I guess to go on a more positive note, yeah, everyone there was just normal people just happen to love ponies. It's just, that's, I guess, the best news you can hear. It just, everyone there was pretty well adjusted. I mean, sure, you got the outliers, but everyone there was pretty much all right. No no real freakish, creepy things were going on.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I'd do it again.
Cool.
Nice.
Well,
Anything you guys want to know
we should
else
probably-
I didn't talk about?
Should probably move on to our last
Possibly.
bits for the day.
Bits.
LOL bits.
Give you guys the term to use on the show.
Yeah, it's a horse thing. Yeah, we should. This has been running pretty long, so.
Yes, we
We'll
should
do
stop
that
horsing
episode.
around.
Yeah, so we're gonna do at least most weeks a couple features on some of the different aspects of the community. Namely, the big three, I think, which is pretty much fanfic, art, music. But we'll focus on some other things too. But this week we've got that, and I guess we'll start with our art stuff. That being our artist of the week.
Not art fan.
It's not art fan.
No,
Art of the
Art
week.
fan.
It's art.
Art fan is not helming this.
Art fan of the week.
Art fan. He's our art fan. But Funky, I know you have someone to talk about, and we'll yeah.
Okay, I guess it's time for me to get the floor now. It's a guy that I've been watching for a while now. I forget for how long, but I'm pretty horrible with time. But his DeviantArt pen name is I pronounce it as Texas Legionnaire, which is TX Legionnaire, LEGIONNAIRE, and if that's too complicated for you, he has a Tumblr that's just called Tex Draws, TEX Draws, whatever.
We'll have links to everything in the
Yeah, there's
in
links there.
the description after this. So.
Yeah, but yeah, his Tumblr is really easy to remember. But the thing about him I really like, it's just that he has an art style pretty similar to the show, but it's kind of like, it has his hint of it in there. And what's really what I think is cool that I don't see a lot or not enough is that he has really nice lines despite using like the binary brush, which I'm assuming that's what he used. Like I can't remember what exactly program that he uses, but it's like a binary brush that you see like in like MS Paint or like like most other programs have that. I know Photoshop and Paint Tool Sci have like a binary brush, but you're thinking like, yeah, like there's a lot of people who draw like cutesy stuff, and so does he. But the thing I really like about his art or like his drawings is that he kind of has like this kind of running gag or joke throughout a bunch of drawings where that usually like, there's people who like to depict like humans interacting with ponies, like for whatever, like you always see that a lot in fan fiction, unfortunately. I think Nemesis can attest to that.
Yeah.
And you see that too in art, like stuff, not art fan, but yeah, in drawings. But
This is going to be a problem every week, isn't it?
no,
Yeah.
at least we don't point it out. But
Maybe I should change my screen name.
but no, like, but the thing that
You should just go away.
Ponyfan88.
Ponyfan88, and then we start using Pony more, and then we gets even more confusing.
I'm sorry, aren't you just gonna have to go?
We can't have you on the podcast anymore. You're ruining it.
Damn it!
Fired within the first hour.
Okay, guys. I just wanted to podcast with you. I guess I'll go now.
I'll go start my own podcast about Metallica and
You know
Sonic.
what? Metallica and Sonic.
Hey, don't knock that combination. That could happen.
I think we just got off topic again.
Oops.
Yes, we did.
Every time I tried to go back, something happened. But yeah, like people like to depict like like humans and like interacting with ponies, like. But with Tex, what he'll do is like he has this kind of ongoing running gag where like there's this guy who just seems like he does not want to be there, like who's just there looking angry or looking like with a blank stare with who like interacting with a pony somehow, and I think one of my favorites. It just makes me laugh every time. I have no idea why. Where it's him looking at a picture of like Rainbow Dash, like to my best friend, my best fan, like Rainbow Dash, and then like of this picture of Rainbow Dash smiling. And then like the next panel is just him just looking angry at the viewer. Like he's like, why the hell do I have this? Or like him just like looking at a sandwich made out of daisies, and Twilight's like, hey, why haven't you taken a bite out of it yet? And he's just like looking like, I can't eat this. Like, you know, like he never talks, but he just has that expression. But yeah, it's always like, you know, he clearly doesn't want to be there, and it just makes this interesting contrast between like, you know, a really, you know, adorably drawn or cute pony, and then just like this guy who's just like, who everyone wishes this would happen to them, and this guy clearly does not want it happening to him. And and I don't know if it was intentional or not, but he has like a later drawing where like it's like a Facebook kind of thing where like it's Twilight and being hugged by Rarity, and it's like, you know, it's from Rarity's Facebook, and it's just like oh, I'm out on the frame with my best friend, and then like it's his profile looking at it, and so it's just like even on the internet he can't get away from them. Like they're just everywhere he looks. But aside from that, I just really like the fact that, you know, that he really exerts himself. He's always practicing. You always see like in his Tumblr like his practice sketches and like stuff that, you know, he doesn't really end up doing, but it's just, you know, warming up and him exploring and trying to get better, which is good because I think every artist really should do that. And he also runs an ass blog on Tumblr. It's As Big Macintosh. It's kind of like his regular art where like he doesn't update much, but that's because he's had computer troubles recently, and I'm pretty sure he has like a real life and a job and stuff, so it's not that he can dedicate his time to this as most other pony artists or musicians and what have you do. But I like it because like it's very light comedy, but it's very simple and very humble, kind of like the character Big Macintosh that it's based off of, and it's kind of a nice breath of fresh air from other ass blogs that have this really long continuing storylines and numerous characters. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but sometimes it's kind of nice to just read up on a blog that doesn't require you to read from the beginning to understand what is going on. Because, like, you know, I love Moonstuck. Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite ongoing ass blogs on Tumblr, but there are days when I miss when they update, and I'm like, oh crap, I missed like 3 pages worth of stuff, and I'm trying to go back to the most recent one that I remember seeing, while at the same time trying not to see the updates because I don't want to spoil myself. And it gets kind of frustrating doing that, so it's just like, you know, kind of, but yeah, it's, you don't have to do that with that, but at the same time, you'll want to anyway, just because, it's very, you know, it's very quick, it's very humorous, and it's a good and bad thing that there's only a few pages. There's only like 5 pages, I think, in total, so you can easily catch up on it within like 10 minutes or so, but yeah, like, despite the fact that he doesn't update as much because of everything, that I think he's really worth looking into, because not only is his stuff, like, you know, really fun to look at, it's, you know, it's also really fun looking at an artist getting better as he goes along. So yeah, that's my recommendation for the week.
Cool. So once again, everybody should check him out, or I'm assuming it's a him, her.
Yeah, it's a guy.
It's a guy. TX Legionnaire. Yeah, so that's our artist of the week. I guess next we'll hit our music picks. This is stuff that's come out recently. Usually we'll do something that's come out in like the last week, you know, since we did our podcast. One of the songs we have today actually came out more about three weeks ago, I think. But you know, whatever. It's yeah. So the first song we're going to talk about is a new offering from. It's a new offering from a Wooden Toaster and Living Tombstone with Rina-chan on the vocal. The song is called "Lost on the Moon."
That when you're stuck on a mountain, you try to go up, you try to go down, you turn around to face the wall so you can face yourself, realizing you made a mistake. And you are being stuck on the moon like the rest of us, trying to make sense of it, crying cause we don't have any reason. We're alone together cause we all share the very same crime. Some will say
I wonder who it's
it's a new song from them, and obviously those are all three really are pretty heavy hitters rather in the fandom, particularly the former two in the music aspect. So
Yeah.
it's always really cool to see new music from them. Period. Let alone together. But it's a very interesting song. It's got it's got the usual electro beats, like as you can expect, flanked by Rina's vocal. It's a really interesting. But what do you guys think of it? Is it something that you'll come back to as potential listening fodder in the coming weeks?
First off, I was kind of confused at first because I heard Rina-chan, and for some reason I thought of Rina-cat, who was like some one kind of well-known Kim Possible fan artist on DeviantArt, and I was like, what? She's singing now? Like, why are y'all talking about her now? It's like, oh, it's Rina-chan. My bad, but yeah, like I'm not really much into like music, and I'm not really familiar with pony music in general, but I liked it. The song was good, and I've never heard Rina-chan or anything, but I thought the vocals were pretty good. So it was a really enjoyable song. It wasn't too long, which that's why I like. I don't like songs that are extremely long. It was only like just over 3 minutes, I think. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was pretty much done with that thought because I didn't have much
right.
to add to that.
Yeah. For me, the song is good. I totally give it up when people make original material. I love original material. I was not so much a fan of electronic drums and whatnot, but for this genre of music that they're going for, it works. The issues I had with it were in the lyrics, not the vocals. I thought the vocals were really well sung. I think Rina-chan has an amazing voice. I just felt like some of the lines, they felt like they were stuffing too many syllables in a line, or there wasn't really... I felt some things probably could have been moved around to flow better. But that's just me like critiquing it like in depth, just coming from a fellow musician standpoint and as somebody who records music myself. Just like going in there and seeing like, well, okay, I see what you were going for, but you probably could have spread this out so it could have flowed smoother and it wouldn't have sounded like you were trying to rush through a line on every verse, which is the vibe I got sometimes. Otherwise, though, I think the song is well put together. It's got a good length. It doesn't overstay its welcome. Music's good, very well mixed. Overall, pretty good effort. I definitely would probably listen to it again. So.
Let me think.
If you don't have a thought,
to organize my thoughts, because usually before I used to kind of avoid the original music, or not original music, but like the vocalized music and stuff, just because it's really not what I was into. I was more into the remixes and stuff. And I mean, I listened to some stuff like that was inspired by the show, but initially when I started hearing the first vocal stuff, I was kind of avoided because a lot of it was just covers of the music from the show, and it's like, oh, hearing a guy here, let's do it. Hearing a guy sing this voice, and just didn't sound right to me. I've seen this part, but that was a lot of the original stuff initially. But then they actually started branching off and doing the like actual original music inspired by the show, and a lot of it actually is good. And this one in particular, the voice is great. I've always liked Living Tombstone and Wooden Toasters, so the music part was all pretty awesome too. And I'm glad they actually provide a instrumental version to listen to if you want it. Rina, like Art said, sometimes the lyrics did feel a little wordy. Like, the word is trying to fit too much into a single line. Another thing that I've noticed was the lyrics. I don't know, just something odd. It's just just go through and then it just goes the whole song again. Like it felt like they were like they're gonna make another verse or so too, but then all of a sudden they just had to just repeat the ones they already did.
Yeah, I got that vibe too. Yeah.
Yeah,
that was another thing I did mention.
Oh, the song's not long enough. It's only a minute and a half. We better make it longer.
Yeah, it was very copy paste. Just repeat it to make it longer.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's up to this. I listened to it. I really didn't think it was up to the standards that Wooden Toaster and Living Tombstone actually usually put out. That's not to say I thought it was bad. I still think it's a good song, good recording. Does it hold water with something like Discord, Nightmare Night, etc. It's not really something I'm necessarily going to go back to very much. I think,
Yeah.
but I mean, and it's there's always that thing with the lyrics. I think that's one of the things I think a lot of people don't like about a lot of original singing stuff. Besides, a lot of people don't like some of the voices. Because let's face it, we don't have anybody in this fandom who's like a crazy good singer. Like holy hell, technically brilliant. We have some good singers, but there's a lot of people also who some people are like, I don't know. But lyrically, a lot of times there's just some dumb stuff that's put out there. I'm not going to name any names. And I'm not saying this is like that. I definitely get the gist of what they're going for here with this, and that's I think it's definitely interesting. I don't think they did too many cliches, which is always good. But yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoyed it. I think there is definitely better to come from all parties. For a collaboration, it just I expected a little more, honestly. But I still definitely did enjoy the song. I probably wouldn't have put it as a possibility to talk about here if I didn't like it, because I'm probably not going to just like we're not going to sit here and rant about how much we hate things. So,
Really, that's Nemesis.
Yeah.
Yes, that's Nemesis' job. So yeah, I mean, like, totally decent song. I thought, 8 out of 10 would listen again.
I wouldn't. I guess this is a song that if someone that came up on a playlist or something, I wouldn't mind hearing it. But
it's definitely
I'm not
a song I could
actively download and put it on my iPod or anything.
When I was listening to it, I definitely thought it'd be a good song to play at like a dance or something, like at a convention or something. I listened to that and thought, yeah, this would fit really well.
I'm almost certain this did actually play at Everfree, but I'm not 100% sure of that.
It might have. It came out about a week ago.
So I think it might have been played there. I'm not 100% certain. Just because, they often, like, when we were waiting for stuff, they'd have music playing. And
well, we got one other song to talk about tonight, and this one's a little older, as in end of July. Only has a handful of hits compared to, a lot of your bigger Pony songs.
Yeah, it's only
like
3,000
3,000
something views.
3,000 hits.
And it deserves more, because it's really good.
Yeah, I agree too. The song is by a musician named I Demand. The song is called Hopes and Dreams. This song does have vocals in it, but it is purely sampled from the show, the voices of the characters, main six mainly. I believe. I'm not sure if there's any other. I'll have to listen again to make sure there's no, it's not main six. I think it's just main six.
It's just main six.
But the gist of the song, it's a very interesting concept. It's taking different, phrases, words, whatever, that have been said by the characters, and basically fitting it all together to kind of fit a different mood. Because a lot of the, music, or rather, a lot of, like, the show, a lot of times is upbeat and happy. And this song, I'm not saying it's not upbeat and not happy, but it's definitely a lot... It's a lot more moody, I guess. And
I would even go so far as to say it felt a little creepy at times because the way the voices sounded like, but not in a bad way. Yeah, it was relaxing, but yeah.
I wouldn't say creepy. It's a more melancholy, just kind of not.
Melancholy is a good word. Yes.
Like,
it's like it wasn't like 100% happy. It's just I don't know. It's hard to describe. It's just. I think part of the reason, though, it's not really a popular. I don't think it ever popped up on EQD, and that part of that was until recently it was not actually named. It had no name. It was just until
I was looking through the YouTube comments on this video, and it did finally get featured on EQD. So it has been on there, but. Which is very interesting that it hasn't gotten more notoriety from that, because I think we all seem to be in agreement that this is a pretty good song. So it's very interesting that it hasn't gotten more notoriety. But I mean, again, I just definitely think what's really interesting about the song is how iDemand uses these samples of the voices to such interesting effect. Because, like, for instance, you wouldn't expect to hear, Pinkie Pie going, smile, 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 in such a kind of like a melancholic way.
Yeah.
It's definitely. I know there's one person on the video who said that part gives them chills, and I mean, I can definitely see why. It's just a very interesting usage of what has already been released to make something totally new. And I definitely have to give iDemand props for that, because definitely did a lot different than what you would usually expect from a song that samples stuff like that. You would expect something a little more upbeat than this was.
See, this one really didn't do anything for me. I mean, it's just me. I mean, I've kind of, I might be just biased because I've always had a thing against like songs that sample. I like hearing people. I mean, yes, it's creative. He does use the vocal clips in a unique way. I'm not taking that away from him, but when it comes to like fandom music and stuff like that, what really gets me going is when people just create something that's 100% original rather than just taking something that already exists and bending it to fit something else.
But that's the thing, they are bending it, and I think that's what's cool.
Also, another thing is you are kind of running counter to a lot of the fandom. Most of the fandom prefers the remixes and sampling over 100% original content, because they still want that element from the show. When it's 100% original, there's sometimes only a vague relation to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Other times it's like, it's obviously inspired by the show, and they're singing as if it's from the show or something, like singing about a character or whatever. But still, other times it's like this is only vaguely associated, and often sometimes I've heard there's one song I heard. It was supposed to be this Aria remix, and it was just they literally just took the verse, like the first verse, and when it ended, fade out the music. They faded in their own little dubstep thing for a bit, and then fade that out and fade in the next verse. And it's like, that's not really, you're just taking your own music and intersplicing it into an existing song. It's just kind of like, feels like I'm listening to songs at once, not really its own new thing. And it's like, it feels like you're just trying to ride on the coattails of the popularity of the show just to get your stuff out there, which I think you shouldn't do.
Yeah, I definitely see
agree.
what you mean.
I could agree with you on that one, I guess.
Yeah, and that's why I think this song is cool, is because it definitely doesn't do that necessarily. I mean, it obviously uses stuff from the show, but it's not just, like Nemesis was saying, just something where like they like kind of added like just a dubstep behind it, and I think it's interesting you mentioned, that how some songs, say they're inspired by it, might have like a vague correlation to the show, because I think that kind of reminds me a bit of the Lost on the Moon song that we just talked about, because if you didn't know any better, if you just heard that song, there's
no mention of ponies. There's no mention of Luna even.
Really, there's the mention of the moon, but you could be a casual listener and think, oh, that's just a metaphor for something. And in fact, I was kind of reading it, and you kind of could get some metaphorical statements out of it. And I'm sure that's something they very much, well, I'm going to guess they thought about. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they were taking it totally literally the whole time. Point is, that's definitely our other song we talked about is definitely a good example of that. Something that's obviously influenced by that, by ponies, but isn't explicitly about it. Whereas this, obviously, is a lot more explicit about it. But yeah, I mean, once again, I enjoy it because it was definitely transformative. Yeah. It didn't just take it in didn't stick to the status quo here. Yeah. It changed it, and that's really cool.
And it really should get more listens. Yeah. I found the EQD post is featured in it, and I'm surprised it didn't have more listens. So I'm guessing. Yeah. Some reason that people just didn't listen to it for some reason, because sometimes this stuff gets overlooked, because if it's paired with something that has a bigger name attached to it, you're just gonna get ignored sometimes.
Yeah, name recognition's a big thing. I mean, like I found this song, I'm like, oh hey, Wood Toaster and Living Tombstone put out something new. I know who they are. I
Yeah.
demand before this song. And no idea who.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what the
again,
hell's
it's
that?
just
So-
this kind of came up, I guess, a little bit at Everfree. It's like, the initial music remixes are all pretty basic stuff. It was just all of it was just speed it up and add some bass initially, and then there's a few standouts, and it wasn't really till stuff like For the New Lunar Republic and I guess Alex S's glitch remix of the theme song that really things start to take off.
Yeah.
Those two in particular really set things off. Like For the New Lunar Republic was like, holy crap, because it was 100% instrumental, had nothing. If you could listen to it and not have any idea it had anything to do, it was inspired by My Little Pony, but still, it was really well done.
Yeah, I love it. But I was gonna say, like, honestly, like, I think I like Hopes and Dreams more than Lost on the Moon. Not because I don't like Wooden Toaster and all that stuff, but it's just that to me, Hopes and Dreams felt more like a I don't know what word to describe it, but like, it felt like a kind of music that I can put on in the background while I'm drawing, because that's what I like to do. Like, I like to put on like podcasts or like music while I'm drawing, but when I listen to music while I'm drawing, I like to put on stuff that's more somber and more moody, rather than something, I guess, like that's a little bit more fast paced or whatever. And I think Hopes and Dreams is definitely like one of those kinds of songs where I could just put it on and then just enjoy that song while I'm doing something else. But
think
I might be able
might
to
also
yeah.
Wait, we might be able to what?
No, I was gonna say, like, I could probably do the same thing with Lost on the Moon, but I think Hopes and Dreams is a little bit more effective with the, I guess, like the kind of atmosphere it kind of makes.
Yeah. I think part of the reason it might be being overlooked is because it's very different from what you normally get from the musicians. You usually get the upbeat stuff.
Yeah,
it's like super upbeat. It's fast, and this is very much not that. This is you usually get the lots of bass, faster tempos, and I mean, there's still stuff out there that's not like that. But even then, even if it's not like any sort of electronic music, you still get the fairly upbeat songs. Even if it's got a slower tempo, it's still fairly upbeat and happy, and with the lyrics usually. Or even sometimes you get lyrics that aren't quite upbeat, but the music is upbeat. But this song is like it's very melancholy, and I'm wondering if that's what's putting some people off, because a lot of people are like, I want things to be happy. A lot of people go out of their way to avoid things that are sad in this fandom.
Yeah, I definitely see what you mean. Like, it's a different kind of way that most people are kind of used to, I guess, like, or what they're used to seeing that people enjoy putting out. So, yeah, I guess I can see how it can be a little not well received, but. Well, which is odd, because like, I know that you mentioned remixes, and I just want to touch on that real quick. Usually I hate remixes, especially when it comes to video game music, because I hate most video game music remixes, because it felt like what you were saying. Like, they will play like a certain part that you would know, and then just add like a completely random part. It's like, this sounds nice and all, but this sounds like it has nothing to do with whatever game that this is based off of. So like, usually I like to listen to like screw the remix, I'll just listen to the original. But this, I guess, it technically is kind of a remix, but yeah, it's not really based on anything. So I guess that's why I like it more, rather than if it was a remix of like Art of the Dress or like Rent to Wrap Up. And so it's like, usually I'll just stick with the original. So.
All right. Well, let's move on to our last bit here really quick. But it's going to be about fanfics, and
Oh no.
really quick.
No.
Yeah, right. Mr. Artfan
Yes,
read a story.
indeed I did.
It's a story by a man named Penstroke.
Yes, the story we have is by Penstroke. It's called Fluttershy Wishes. You could find it, well, at least I found it, by going to Equestria Daily, going to Fix, and then follow the links. It'll take you to filmfiction.net, where the story is hosted. So basically what we have here is a story about Rarity returning home from the
Middle
Camel,
East.
essentially. From the Camel domain, which, yeah, the Middle East for all intents and purposes, and brings back a bottle for Fluttershy, which contains a genie. And from there, hilarity and craziness ensues. So I actually am not the only one that read this. I believe Funky and Kevin have both read, or at least read parts of
We've
it.
all read it.
I didn't read all of it, but the one thing I want to ask is, does she wish to be a tree at any point?
No, she does not.
Fanfic, 1 out of 5, whatever. Move on.
we really should. We really should move on. No, I thought this was a totally good effort from Penstroke. One of my favorite things about it, and this is something that I hold true, really for a lot of fanfics, and this is not just in the pony fandom, but like in many fandoms, is that I felt like it could have totally been an episode of the show.
I kind of agree. I got that very same vibe. Having seen several episodes, I was like, okay, this could probably fit in there. I felt it was severely predictable at some points, which is a pet peeve of mine I have when I read stories. But otherwise, I think it could fit in pretty well with the flow of how the TV show goes.
Yeah, Penstroke definitely writes the characters well in terms of dialogue. I think my favorite thing to read from Penstroke is definitely the dialogue. Some of the other stuff, it's a little interesting, but Penstroke definitely I'm assuming Penstroke's a he. I think.
They.
I always forget, and then I'm just like, wait. Always does very well with making the characters sound like the characters, even if that means making Rarity say that something is simply divine a little too much. But in the grand scheme of things, they definitely sound like themselves, and that's good. I like that a lot.
No, I agree with that. They sound like themselves. I do feel that the way he writes exposition is a little strange sometimes. I'm not really sure how to put my finger on it. I mean, aside from your occasional typos and grammatical errors, I just think sometimes he over-explains, and sometimes it feels very repetitious with his exposition. I wish I had highlighted a specific example of what I was saying.
I know what you're saying. I definitely got that feeling sometimes, for sure.
It just feels wordy sometimes where it doesn't need to be.
And some people are like that. Some people are like, oh my god, so much description. And
I'm like that, so I can relate, but I guess when I read it, it's a pet peeve.
Yeah, I understand.
Definitely.
So all in all, is this something you'd recommend?
I would probably recommend it. Yeah. As we said, it does flow very well with the show. So if you're looking for something that can be lighthearted and that is very much written in the spirit of the show in every way, the characters are very much themselves. The ideas that Penstroke presents are very much in line with how the show would present things. I thought it might have gotten a little bit intense and strange with the whole genie thing, but other than that, I think I think it's worth a read. I think it's something that can be that you can definitely check out.
Cool. Okay. Well, I guess that's all we got tonight. So we've made it through our first podcast ever.
Yeah.
For Pony 411.
Just under 2 hours.
It's really long. We're probably not going to be this long all the time. Our talk of Everfree, I think, definitely, did us in. We're not. Well, totally understandable, but we're not going to have big, long conversations like that every week.
I still left stuff out.
Yeah. Well, we should have just have one just Everfree thing, but whatever. No. So to. Thank you for listening very much. I hope it wasn't, incredibly painful. I'm hoping we don't send in the files here later tonight and look at them or listen to them and be like, oh god, this is horrible. Sound issues.
I hope the people don't listen to it and say, oh god, this is horrible.
Well, that's what I'm saying too.
Yeah.
We're not. But yeah, so whatever. We'll put this up, and we'll hope you enjoy it, and know that it is only uphill from here. So, we'll be back next week.
If all else fails, we could always make it a Batman themed podcast. Starting next week, Bane hosts Pony 411.
Oh God, that'd be really funny. Yeah. So we did not record this on a Friday night, but this will go up on Friday. That would be the 24th, I believe.
And tentatively every Friday, right?
And tentatively every Friday from there on out, there will be some new Pony 411 for you to listen to. And yeah, really quick before we go, you should check us out on various websites. We do have a Twitter account. That's Pony411.
YouTube.
We have YouTube.
Nothing on it yet, but that will change soon.
That will also be Pony411.
Shocker.
It's youtube.com/Pony411.
You can watch our amazing logo on screen for 2 hours.
That's right. No, we're going to try it. It's going to be really awesome. We're also going to put this up on SoundCloud, where you can download from there. Pony411 once again. And if you have any questions, cause for discussion that you don't want to air on Twitter, you can email us at pony411podcast@gmail.com. Apparently, pony411@gmail.com was taken. Screw
bastard.
that guy.
That guy is a
That can
jerk.
go to hell.
I hope.
So
I hope he steps on a Lego.
To Pony
that's
Hill.
that's what the only thing we can hope. So yeah, I think that's all we got tonight. Thank you very much for listening. Does everybody else have anything else to say?
Always pony responsibly, everybody.
Oh yes, please pony responsibly. That is
And Fluttershy's best pony.
Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa.
One last thing before we get out of here. Hot Diggity Demon has released the video that he showed at TrotCon and Everfree Northwest during his panels. You should go check it out. By the time this airs, it'll be like 3 days old, so you'll probably have watched it by now. But if you haven't, go check it out. It's pretty funny. So yeah, this is Pony411 signing off for the first time. Hopefully not the last time. Thank you all very much for listening, and please pony responsibly.